Alright, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the differences between MP3s and video mixing. Let's get started. Alright, so starting off DJing, you want to think about a few things, and one of them is going to be what kind of format or medium you want to mix. So the most popular formats are MP3, which is just music without any visuals, and video, obviously video files that you can mix. So the reasons you might want to choose MP3 versus video is that it's less space on the hard drive. So if you have like a 500 gig hard drive, you will be able to fit a lot more than you would with video files. Nowadays there's compressions that will allow those video clips to be smaller in the hard drive, but it's still taking up a lot more space than MP3s. So that's something you want to keep in mind if you're gonna do MP3s versus video. Alright, second thing to note is MP3s take less system requirements. So this means that if you're trying to mix with just MP3s on your computer, on your laptop, it is going to take less hardware requirements. So therefore you don't need like a very strong PC or Mac to do a lot of MP3 mixing. So that's one of the benefits as well. So another thing to note is that the backups using MP3s are a lot easier to manage and also a lot less expensive because you're dealing with less space. Therefore, they're not going to charge you a lot of money to put those MP3s in the cloud, or you could put it in a USB drive and take it with you. So that's another way. Also, one last thing to consider with MP3s is the ease of mixing. So what I mean is MP3s versus video mixing. With MP3s, you're only dealing with waves, and that's only one element of mixing. And if you're doing videos, you have to mix both visuals and audio components so that it sounds and looks good. And of course, you have to make sure that your videos look pretty good compressions and good transitions and so on. So one thing to keep in mind. All right, let's look at some of the stuff that you would consider if you want to do some video mixing. So there's a few ways you could video mix. So there's plugins you can buy. For example, Serato sells a video plugin, and then you're able to video mix any files you want. Why would you choose video over MP3 only? Well, because it's more interesting to look at. So if you're a DJ, you're out there doing your thing, it would be a lot more interesting to look at TVs all around of that actual video or even a remix or whatever it is. And it's just a lot more interesting to look at that versus just audio playing, you know. Sometimes mixing could be somewhat boring, especially if the DJ is kind of new and doesn't know how to really read the crowd or whatnot. Video mixing really assists in bringing a lot more entertainment to the people, and especially useful in times like dinner time or cocktail time. There's times that you could play music videos, and it just keeps people engaged and not bored. Another reason why you would want to choose video over just MP3 is that you can charge a lot more. So if you're just doing audio, there's just so much you can charge, but once you start adding more elements such as video, you start bringing more equipment, and therefore you could raise the rent. So there's another reason why you would want to get that. I also think that adding video mixing creates more production value for your brand or your company, because a lot of the big production companies always bring big panels, projections, a lot of LED backlit type panels. All of that stuff just brings more production value to your company, and therefore that's another reason that you might want to get videos in your mixes, you know, add more production value. But with that, the production value also requires a lot more work, and therefore maybe a lot more employees and a lot more troubleshooting, testing, making sure that everything is working fine prior to your event. So now you have another element that you need to make sure you're okay with, that you're ready to work on. You don't want the day of the event having some of the TVs start turning off or flickering or some kind of loss of signal. That's just the worst. Then people won't take you seriously. They won't want to hire you again. So that's another thing. There's just another level of testing and making sure that your product is ready for the public. And last but not least, of course, with video mixing, you may need more system requirements. So you'll probably need a beefier PC or Mac, and therefore it'll cost a little more, obviously. And it just overall a lot more expensive to run. You just have a lot more system requirements to be able to run all those videos onto your TVs and all that. So a few things to keep in mind. So something about these topics is I wanted to share a quick little story, is that I wanted to bring up this topic because when I started DJing, I had the opportunity to do video mixing, but I didn't want to go that route. I chose to stay with MP3 mixing because I noticed that the people get too tied up with looking at the screens. And to me, my job as a DJ is to make everybody have a good time. So I don't want people staring at the monitors while they're dancing. I want people to look at each other while they're dancing, and look at other people, and just grab people from the crowd, like be engaged with the music. I don't hate on video mixing at all because I think it's really fun and interesting, but as far as how I like to represent my brand is I like people to remember that time that they were able to dance to whatever song was playing, and all they remember was the sound and actually them dancing and the experience of that. So that's what I think. Everybody has their own thing. Who knows, maybe one day I will do video mixing, but as of now, I stick to the MP3s, just the music. All right, well, that's about it for this video. I know it's a little quick one, but I wanted to touch on this topic, and I hope it was helpful. And please give it a like if you liked it. Share it if you want, and subscribe. Don't forget, hit that bell, hit that campana. Till the next one, ciao.